Namo Buddhaya, the large sutra on perfect wisdom. Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sūtram, Chapter 3. Observations. Various preliminary instructions. Short outline of method of coursing in perfect wisdom. Instructions. Instructions about the progress. Shariputra. How then should the Bodhisattva, the great being, course in perfect wisdom? The Lord. Here the Bodhisattva, the great being, coursing in the perfection of wisdom, truly a Bodhisattva, doesn't review a Bodhisattva, know the world Bodhisattva, know the course of a Bodhisattva, know the perfection of wisdom, know the world perfection of wisdom. He doesn't review that he courses, know that he doesn't course. He doesn't review form, feeling, perception, formative forces, or consciousness. And why? Because the Bodhisattva, the great being, is actually empty of own being of a Bodhisattva, and because perfect wisdom is by its own being empty. And why? That is its essential original nature. For it is not through emptiness that form, etc., is empty. For is emptiness other than form, etc. Nor is emptiness other than form, etc. And why? The very form, etc., is emptiness, and the very emptiness is form, etc. And why? Because Bodhisattva, perfect wisdom, form, etc. are mere words, because form, etc. are like an illusion. Illusions and mere words do not stand at any point or spot. They are not, do not come into being, are false to behold. For of what their own being is seen to be an illusion, of that there is no production or stopping, no defilement or purification. Thus a Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in the perfection of wisdom, also does not review the production of any dharma, nor its stopping or abiding, its decrease or increase, defilement or purification. He doesn't review form, etc., nor enlightenment, nor what it is called an enlightenment being. And why? Because words are artificial, because have constructed a counter-dharma. They express it conventionally by means of adventitious designation, which is imagined and unreal, and they settle down in that conventional expression. A Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, does not review that which is said to correspond to all those words, does not get at them, not reviewing them, not getting at them. He does not mind them, does not settle down in them. Furthermore, Bodhisattva, a great being whose courses in the perfection of wisdom, doesn't consider the fact that these are mere words. This Bodhisattva, this enlightenment, this Buddha, this perfection of wisdom, this coursing in the perfection of wisdom, this form, etc., just as one speaks of a self, and yet no self is got at, and no being, soul, personality, person, individual, or man, etc., on account of unascertainable emptiness. And why? Because they are a Bodhisattva does not, because they are Bodhisattva does also not review that by means of which he would settle down. Coursing thus, a Bodhisattva, great being, courses in perfect wisdom. Superiority of Bodhisattvas over disciples. If this continent of Jambudvipa were filled with monks similar in worth to Shariputra and Mount Galyayana, like a thicket of reeds, bamboos, or sugar cane, or of tall grass, or rice, or sesame plants, their wisdom does not approach the wisdom of a Bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom by 1/100th part. No, by 1,000th part. No, by 100,000th part. It doesn't bear a number, no fraction, no counting, no similarity, no comparison, no resemblance. To such an extent does the wisdom of a Bodhisattva who coursing in perfect wisdom develops for one day only surpass the wisdom of all the disciples and particular Buddhas. And why? Because that wisdom of a Bodhisattva, a great being, is concerned with winning nirvana for all beings. And that would hold true even if not only Jambudvipa but in the greater telecosm, or even if all the countless world systems in each of the 10 directions were filled with monks similar in words to Shariputra and Mount Galayana. Shariputra. The wisdom of stream awareness, the wisdom of once returners, never returners, arhats and Pratika Buddhas, the wisdom of a Bodhisattva, the wisdom of a Tathagata, all these kinds of wisdom are not differentiated. They are isolated, unproduced, without own being and empty. But no distinction of difference can be got at that and of that which is not broken apart, which is isolated and produced without own being and empty. How then does the wisdom which a Bodhisattva has developed for one day only, that wisdom of one who is coursing in perfect wisdom, surpass the wisdom of all the disciples and Pratika Buddhas? The Lord. When you consider, Shariputra, the task of a Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, for which the wisdom developed for one day only has been set up and furnished with the best of all modes, the task of one who courses in all knowledge and works for the welfare of all beings, in the sense that he has resolved that, once having fully understood all dharmas in all their moments, one should lead all beings to nirvana. This is that also the task for which the wisdom of all the disciples and Pratika Buddhas has been set up. Shariputra. No, indeed, O Lord. The Lord. What do you think, Shariputra? Does it occur to any of the disciples and Pratika Buddhas that after we have known full enlightenment, we should lead all beings to nirvana, into the realm of nirvana which leaves nothing behind? Shariputra. No, indeed, Lord. The Lord. One should therefore know that this wisdom of the disciples and Pratika Buddhas bears no comparison to the wisdom of a Bodhisattva, even though developed for one day only. What do you think, Shariputra? Does it occur to any of the disciples and Pratika Buddhas that after I have practiced the 6 perfections, matured beings, purified the Buddha field, perfecting the 10 powers of a Tathagata, his 4 grounds of self-confidence, the 4 analytical knowledges, and the 18 special dharmas of a Buddha, having known full enlightenment, I shall lead countless beings to nirvana? Shariputra. No, Lord, the Lord. But such are the intentions of a Bodhisattva. A glowworm being a mere insect does not think that its light could illuminate the continent of Jambudvipa or shine over it. Just so the disciples and Pratika Buddhas do not think, not even one of them, that they should, after winning full enlightenment, lead all beings to nirvana, but the sun, when it has risen, sheds its light over the whole of Jambudvipa. Just so a Bodhisattva, after he has accomplished the practices which end in full enlightenment, leads countless beings to nirvana. Shariputra. How does a Bodhisattva, a great being, after he has stepped above the level of all the disciples and Pratika Buddhas, reach the irreversible level and purify the path to enlightenment? Lord. Here a Bodhisattva, a great being, steps above the level of a disciple and Pratika Buddha, reaches the irreversible level and purifies the path to enlightenment, because from the first thought of enlightenment onwards, he courses in the 6 perfections, taking his stand on empty, signless and wishless dharmas. Shariputra. On which level does a Bodhisattva, a great being, become constantly and always worthy of the donations of all the disciples and Pratika Buddhas? The Lord. He is constantly and always worthy of them during the period which begins with the first thought of enlightenment and ends with his arrival on the terrace of enlightenment, during which period a Bodhisattva, a great being, courses in the 6 perfections. And why? Because it is thanks to the Bodhisattva, the great being, that all the wholesome dharmas are manifested in the world, the 10 wholesome paths of action, the 5 moral rules, the 8 upasattva vows, the 4 trances, the 4 unlimited, the 4 formless attainments, the 5 super knowledges, the 4 applications of mindfulness. the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of psychic power, the 5 cardinal virtues, the 5 powers, the 7 limbs of enlightenment, the Eightfold Path, the 4 grounds of self-confidence, the 4 analytical knowledges, the 6 perfections, the 10 powers of a Tathagata, the 18 special Buddha Dharmas. It is a result of a manifestation of these wholesome dharmas in the world that good families are conceived, nobles, Brahmins, and well-to-do householders, that the gods are conceived from the 4 great kings, the gods of sphere of neither perception nor non-perception, and that stream winners arise in the world, etc., Arhats, Pratika Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Tathagatas. Shariputra. Does then a Bodhisattva, a great being, cleanse the donations he receives, or does he not? The Lord, he doesn't cleanse them because the donations of a Bodhisattva and great being are just absolutely pure and worthy. A donor is the Bodhisattva, the great being. Of what is he a donor? Of wholesome dharmas, of the 10 wholesome paths of action to the 18 special Buddha dharmas. The yoga of perfect wisdom. Instructions about the truths. Instruction about the truth of ill. Shariputra. How is the Bodhisattva a great being who is joined and exerting himself to be called joined to perfect wisdom? The Lord. Here Shariputra, Bodhisattva, a great being who is joined to the emptiness of form, is to be called joined. And so, if he is joined to the emptiness of feeling, etc., of the eye to mind, of sight object to mind object, of eye elements, sight object element, eye consciousness element, etc., to mind consciousness element, of suffering, origination, stopping path, and of ignorance, etc., decay and death, joined to the emptiness of all dharmas, is he to be called joined. Of whichever conditioned and unconditioned dharmas he may have formed a notion, joined to the emptiness of all those dharmas, is he to be called joined. Moreover, Shariputra, Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in the perfect wisdom, should be called joined, if he is joined to the emptiness of the essential original nature. It is thus, Shariputra, that the Bodhisattva, the great being who courses in perfect wisdom, is when joined to these 7 emptinesses, to be called joined. It is thus, Shariputra, that he who courses in perfect wisdom by means of the 7 emptinesses should, because of that, not even be called joined or unjoined. And why? Because there he doesn't review form, etc., as joined or as unjoined. Instructions about the truth of origination. He doesn't review form, etc., as either subject to production or as subject to stopping. He doesn't review form, etc., as a subject to defilement or as subject to purification. He doesn't review form as connecting with feeling, feeling as connecting with form, feeling as connecting with perception, perception is connecting with feeling, perception is connecting with impulses, impulses is connecting with perception, impulses is connecting with consciousness, consciousness is connecting with impulses. And why? Because no dharma connects with any other dharma, nor does it connect. It is not joined for, nor disjoined, or on account of the emptiness of the essential original nature, that which is emptiness, that is not form, etc. Because the emptiness of form does not molest, the emptiness of feeling does not feel, the emptiness of perception does not perceive, the emptiness of impulses does not put together, the emptiness of consciousness is not aware. And why? Because form is not one thing and emptiness another. Emptiness is not one thing and form another. The very form is emptiness, the very emptiness is form, and so on for feeling, etc. Instructions about the truth of stopping. And that emptiness that is neither produced nor stopped, is neither defiled nor purified, does not decrease or increase, and that which is neither produced nor stopped, neither defiled nor purified, neither decreased nor increased, that is not past, future, or present. There is no form in it, no feeling, etc., no I, etc., to no mind, no form, etc., no mind object, no I element, etc., to no mind consciousness element, no ignorance, no stopping. of ignorance, etc. 2. No decay and death, no stopping of decay and death, no suffering, no comprehension of suffering, no origination and no forsaking of origination, no stopping and no realization of stopping, no path and no development of the path, no attainment and no reunion, no stream wearer and no fruit of a stream winner, etc. To Bodhisattva and no knowledge of the modes of the path, no Buddha and no enlightenment. It is in this sense, Shariputra, that a Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, is to be called joined. Instructions bearing the truth of the path. One who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't reveal himself as joined to the perfection of given, nor as not joined to it. And so with the other perfections, with form, etc., to the cognition of all knowing. All by this method should it be known that a Bodhisattva, a great being who has been thus joined to perfect wisdom, is to be called joined. Moreover, Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, doesn't join emptiness with emptiness, nor is emptiness a matter for joining. He doesn't join the singleness with the singleness, nor is the singleness a matter for joining. He doesn't join the wishless with the wishless, nor is the wishless a matter for joining. And why? Because emptiness is not a matter for joining or disjoining. When he thus joins himself, a Bodhisattva, a great being, is to be called joined to perfect wisdom. Moreover, a Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, plunges into the own mark of emptiness of dharmas. But when he does so, he does not join with form, etc., nor disjoins himself from it. He does not join with form, etc., in the beginning, or in the end, or in the present. He truly doesn't review the beginning, end, or present. When he thus joins himself, a Bodhisattva, a great being, is to be called joined to perfect wisdom. Moreover, a Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, doesn't join in the beginning with the end, not the end with the beginning, not the present with the beginning nor end, not the end with the beginning or present, not the beginning with the end or the present. And that is on account of the emptiness of 3 periods of time. Then he thus joins himself, a Bodhisattva, a great being, is to be called joined to perfection of wisdom, joined to perfect wisdom. Instructions about the 3 treasures. Instructions about the treasure of the Buddha. Moreover, Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, is bound thereby to join himself, thus that he doesn't join the knowledge of all modes to the past, the future, or the present. He does not review the past, future, or present. How can he join the knowledge of all modes to them? When he thus joins himself, a Bodhisattva is to be called joined to the perfect wisdom. Moreover, Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, doesn't join form or any other dharma to the knowledge of all modes. Form or any other dharma he just does not review. When he thus joins himself, a Bodhisattva is to be called joined to perfect wisdom. Moreover, Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in the perfect wisdom, doesn't join the perfection of giving or any other wholesome dharma to the knowledge of all modes. The very perfection of giving or any other wholesome dharma he does not review. When he thus joins himself, a Bodhisattva is to be called joined to the perfect wisdom. Moreover, a Bodhisattva, a great being, doesn't join the Buddha, the knowledge of all modes. The very Buddha he doesn't review, nor does he join the knowledge of all modes to the Buddha. The very knowledge of all modes he doesn't review. He does not join enlightenment to the knowledge of all modes. The very enlightenment he doesn't review. Nor does he join the knowledge of all modes to enlightenment. The very knowledge of all modes he does not review. And why? The very Buddha is the knowledge of all modes. The very knowledge of all modes is the Buddha. The very enlightenment is the knowledge of all modes. The very knowledge of all modes is enlightenment. When he thus joins himself, a Bodhisattva is to be called joined to perfect wisdom. Instructions about the treasure of the Dharma. Moreover, Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, doesn't join up with the conviction that form is a positive existent or that form is not a positive existence, that form is permanent or impermanent, that form is ease or suffering, that form is the self or not the self, that form is calm or uncalm, and so for the other skandhas. He does not join up with the conviction that form is empty or not empty, that form is with sign or signless, that form is with wish or wishless, and so for the other skandhas. One who courses thus doesn't approach the ideas that he courses. He does not course. He both courses and does not course. He neither courses nor does he not course. A Bodhisattva great being who courses thus is to be called joined to perfect wisdom. Moreover, Bodhisattva great being who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't course in perfect wisdom for the sake of the perfection of given or any other perfection, nor for the sake of the irreversible stage, nor for the purpose of maturing beings, or for purifying the Buddha field, nor for the sake of the 10 powers of a Tathagata, etc., to the Buddha Dharmas, nor for the sake of the emptiness of the subject, etc., nor for the sake of sadness of the realm of Dharma, of the reality limits, etc. And why? Because the Bodhisattva great being who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't review the differentiation of any Dharma whatsoever. A Bodhisattva great being who courses thus is to be called joined to the perfect wisdom. He doesn't course in perfect wisdom for the sake of the heavenly eye or unheavenly ear, or the recognition of others' thoughts, or the recollection of former lives, or for the sake of wonder-working powers. And why? Because they are one who courses in perfect wisdom does not even review the perfection of wisdom. How then could he review a bodhisattva, or how could he apprehend all the superknowledges in all their modes? It is thus that a bodhisattva and great being who courses in perfect wisdom is to be called joined. Moreover, it doesn't occur to a bodhisattva and great being who courses in perfect wisdom that I know with the heavenly eye the disease and rebirth of beings in world system as numerous and as the sands of the Ganges in each one of the 10 directions. With the heavenly ear I hear their sounds, I know the very thoughts, having also recollected their former lives and having traveled to them with the help of my wonder-working powers, I will demonstrate Dharma to them. It is thus that a bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom and means countless beings to nirvana, is to be called joined. In this way, Mara, the evil one, does not get a chance to harm the bodhisattva, the great being who courses in perfect wisdom. In all the other worldly defilements, he may still have will burst asunder. And this bodhisattva will be protected by the Buddhas, the lords, who in all the 10 directions stand hold and maintain themselves in world system as numerous as the sands of the river Ganges and demonstrate Dharma, and also by the disciples, and also by the particular Buddhas, and by the gods from the 4 great kings to the highest gods, and they will see to it that the bodhisattva will meet with no impediments at all. If he has any physical defect, it will completely cease in this very life. And why? Because he radiates friendliness over all beings. Moreover, Bodhisattva and great being who courses in perfect wisdom comes with little trouble face to face with the Dharani doors and the concentration doors. Wherever he is reborn, he pleases the Tathagatas and is not deprived anywhere of the Buddhas, the lords, until he has known full enlightenment. It is thus that Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, is to be called joined. Moreover, it does not occur to a Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, that there is some Dharma which is conjoined with the disjoined from other Dharmas, nor does he wish that he might more quickly fully know the realm of Dharma, or not fully know it at all. And why? Because the realm of Dharma is not fully known by means of the realm of Dharma. It is thus that Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, is to be called joined. Moreover, Bodhisattva, a great being who courses in perfect wisdom, does not review anything as separate from the realm of Dharma, or distinguish any Dharma from the realm of Dharma. It also does not occur to him that this realm of Dharma has been penetrated, or this realm of Dharma has not been penetrated. For he does not review any Dharma by means of which he could could penetrate to that realm of Dharma, because he doesn't join up the realm of Dharma with the idea that it is empty, or with the idea that it is not empty. It is thus the Bodhisattva great being who courses in perfect wisdom is to be called joined. Moreover, Bodhisattva great being who courses in perfect wisdom does not join up the I element or any of the 18 elements with emptiness, nor does he join up emptiness with the I element or any of the 18 elements. And why? This is the foremost undertaking of the Bodhisattva, the endeavor about emptiness. When he courses in emptiness, the Bodhisattva doesn't fall on the level of disciple of a practical Buddha, but purifies the Buddha field, matures beings, and quickly knows full enlightenment. Among the endeavors of a Bodhisattva, he endeavors about the perfection of wisdom is declared to be the highest, the best, the choicest, the most excellent, the utmost, the unsurpassed, the peerless, the unequaled, the most sublime. And why? There is nothing above that endeavor, above the endeavor about perfect wisdom, about emptiness, the silence, the wishes. A Bodhisattva who is endeavoring, joining himself thus, should be born in mind as predicted to Buddhahood, as one who has come near the prediction. He will work the welfare of countless beings, but it will not occur to him that the Buddhas, the Lords, will predict me. I have come near the prediction. I will purify the Buddha field. I will mature beings. I will, after I have known the full enlightenment, to the will of Dharma. And why? Because he doesn't set apart the realm of Dharma, nor does he review any Dharma as other than the realm of Dharma. For example, him who would course in perfect wisdom, or who would be predicted by the Buddha as the Lord to full enlightenment. And why? Because no perception of a being is produced in a Bodhisattva, great being who courses in perfect wisdom. And why? Because absolutely no being is produced or stopped. Since a being has the nature of non-production and of non-stopping, and that of which there is neither production nor stopping, how will that course in perfect wisdom? Thus, course in a Bodhisattva courses in perfect wisdom through the fact of the non-production of a being, of the emptiness of a being, of the inaccessibility of a being, of the isolatedness of a being. It is thus that one abides in the firmest endeavor of the Bodhisattva, the great being, and the disciple in emptiness, which has surpassed all other disciples. For a Bodhisattva, great being who courses in the disciple aspires to the great friendliness, and he doesn't produce a thought of meanness or of immorality, ill will, sloth, distraughtness, or stupidity, varieties of Bodhisattvas, according to the circumstances of their rebirth. Instructions about the treasure of the Sangha. The 8 lowest Bodhisattva, candidate for stream winnership. Shariputra. The Bodhisattva, the great being who dwells in this dwelling of the perfect wisdom, deceased, where is he born here or deceased here? Where will he be born? The Lord. The Bodhisattva, the great being who dwells in this dwelling of perfect wisdom, deceased in this world, he is reborn here in this very Buddha field, or deceased in other Buddha field, or among the Tushita gods, he is reborn here. The Bodhisattva is faith follower. Among these Bodhisattva, a great being who deceased among men is reborn among them, has dull faculties, except when he is irreversible. He doesn't immediately make endeavors about perfect wisdom, and does not come face to face with the Dharani doors of the concentration doors. If again, Shariputra, you say the Bodhisattva, the great being who makes the endeavor about perfection, wisdom, perfect wisdom, when he is deceased here, will he be reborn? When he is deceased in this Buddha field here, he will then pass on from Buddha field to Buddha field. In each Buddha field, he will please the Buddhas, the Lords, and now where will he be without them? The Bodhisattva is Dharma follower. Moreover, another Bodhisattva, one who is deceased in other Buddha fields and reborn here, has keen faculties. He quickly makes us endeavor about perfect wisdom. When he has passed through this present birth, he will still remain face to face with these very deep dharmas and will continue to make endeavors about perfect wisdom. In whichever Buddha form he may be reborn, there he will please the Tathagatas. Moreover, the Bodhisattva who deceased among the Tushita gores is reborn here also has sharper faculties and come face to face with the six perfections of which he never loses sight, and with all the Dharani doors and concentration doors. The candidate to the second and the third fruit who is in tandem faith. There are Bodhisattva who course in perfect wisdom, working and exerting themselves in order to mature beingness, and who, through the power of skill and means, realize the fruit of stream winner, and yet they do not fancy themselves for being stream winners. There are Bodhisattva who, without being skillful in means, accomplish the four trances and course in the perfection. Through the acquisitions of trance, they are born among the long-lived gods. If after they have deceased, there they are born among men and God, they will please the Buddhas, the Lords. Their faculties also will be dull and not keen. There are Bodhisattvas who both enter into the trances and course in perfect wisdom, but owing to their lack of skill and means, they having abandoned the trances, are born in the world of the sense desire. Their faculties also are dull and not keen. The candidate to the second and third fruit who has attained correct views. There are Bodhisattvas who, after they have produced the four trances, enter into the four unlimited. The four formless attainment, the applications of mindfulness, the right efforts, the basis of physic powers, psychic powers, the five dominants, the five powers, the seven limbs of enlightenment, the paths. Greatly compassionate, they are born through skill in means, and not through the influence of the trances, unlimited or formless attainments, and they are born where they can please the Tathagatas. Since they do not lack dwelling in the perfection of wisdom, they will know full enlightenment in this very Bhadrakalpa. The once returner. There are Bodhisattvas bound to one more birth who, coursing in perfect wisdom and skill in means, enter into and develop the four trances, the four unlimited, the four formless attainments, the applications of mindfulness, right efforts, basis on psychic powers, the dominance powers, limbs of enlightenment paths. They enter into the concentration of emptiness on the signless, on the wishless. But it is not thought the influence of the trances, etc., that they are reborn. When they have face to face pleased the Buddhas, the Lords, and for a long time have led a holy life unto them, they are again reborn among the Tushita gores, where they remain until the end of their lifespan. Thereafter, with non-defective sense organs, mindful and self-possessed, surrounded and accompanied by hundreds of thousands of newtons of copies of God's heaven here exhibited and rebirth, they know full enlightenment various Buddha feels, the never returning. There are Bodhisattvas who are recipients of the six super knowledges and who are not reborn in the world of sense desire or the world of form or the formless world, but they pass on from Buddha field to Buddha field, honoring, respecting, revering, and worshipping the Tathagatas. There are Bodhisattva recipients of the six super knowledges who, playing with these super knowledges, pass on from Buddha field to Buddha field. In those Buddha fields, one has not even a conception of a vehicle of the disciples of particular Buddhas, and in them the lifespan of beings is measureless. There are Bodhisattvas recipients of the six super knowledges who pass on from world system to world system. They go to where the message of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha is unknown and abiding there. They make beings hear the message of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, speaking in praise of the triple gem. As a result of this message of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, those beings when they have deceased from there are reborn where there are Buddhas and Lords. Those who are reborn successfully in the families of men. There are Bodhisattvas who having produced the four trances enter into the four holy unlimited and the four formless attainments, and yet endowed with skill and means, having turned away from the reward which follows their concentrations and attainments. They are reborn in the world of the sense desire and reborn in the good families, among nobles, Brahmins, and well-to-do householders for the sake of maturing beings. Those who are reborn successfully in the families of gods. There are Bodhisattvas who enter into the four trances, the four unlimited, and the four formless attainments, though the power of their skill and means and not thought the influence of the trances, the unlimited or the attainments, they are reborn among the gods of the plane of the sense desire. Abiding among them, the mature beings purify the Buddha fields and please the Buddhas, the lords. There are Bodhisattvas who desist among those gods are, through their skill and means, reborn in the Brahma world up to the highest gods. Therein they become Brahma gods or Mahabrahma gods. They abide in those realms of Brahma and then pass on from Buddha field to Buddha field and entreat the Tathagatas who are in those Buddha fields to turn the wheel of Dharma. Those with one single interval of rebirth among the gods. They are Bodhisattvas who are recipients of the four trances in Sutra, 2 of the 18 special Buddha Dharmas and who course in compliance with them. They are recipients of the four holy truths, and yet they do not penetrate them. And these Bodhisattvas should be known as bound to one more birth. Those who attain nirvana in an intermediate state. There are Bodhisattvas who, from the production of the first thought of enlightenment and words, become recipients of the four trances, the four unlimited, and the four formless attainments. They develop their applications of mindfulness, the right efforts, the basis of psychic powers, the dominance, the powers, the limbs of enlightenment, and the paths. They acquire the 10 powers of a Tathagata, the grounds of self-confidence, the analytical knowledges, and the special Buddha Dharmas. Through skill and means, they are reborn among the gods of Brahma's group, etc., up to highest gods. When they have known full enlightenment, they work for the well of beings. Those who attain nirvana as soon as they have been reborn in the sphere of pure form. There are Bodhisattvas who simply through the production of the first thought of enlightenment, fully know full enlightenment, turn the wheel of Dharma, and having worked their will of countless beings, enter into the realm of nirvana, which leaves nothing behind. Their good Dharma abides for an eon or more, even their attainment of final nirvana. After their attainment of final nirvana, those who attain with great effort. There are Bodhisattvas who coursing in the six perfections, pass on from world system to world system, and their established beings in enlightenment. Always energetic, they never for the sake of all beings speak an unprofitable word. Always energetic for the sake of all beings, they pass on from one Buddha field to another. Also those Bodhisattvas know full enlightenment in various Buddha fields during incalculable and measurable eons for the sake of beings. Those who attain nirvana without effort. There are Bodhisattvas who simply through the first production of the thought of the enlightenment enter into the fixed condition of a Bodhisattva or abide on the irreversible stage or procure all the Buddha Dharmas. There are Bodhisattvas who from the production of the first thought of enlightenment onwards make endeavors about perfect wisdom. Together with hundreds of thousands of myriads of qualities of Bodhisattvas, they pass from one Buddha field to another, always purifying their own Buddha field, and in various Buddha fields they know full enlightenment. Those who have gone to the highest gods to win nirvana there. There are Bodhisattvas who, coursing in the six perfections, have become universal monarchs. Having taken the perfection of giving for their guide, they will provide all beings with everything that brings ease. Food for the hungry, drink to the thirsty. They will provide perfumes, garlands, ornaments, medicinal powders, incense, beds, scents, asylum, homes, money, grain, jewels, pearls, gold, silver, coral, ornaments, and the means of life. Until having established beings in the 10 ways of wholesome actions, they are reborn among the gods of Brahma's group, etc., up to the highest gods, and know full enlightenment in the various Buddha fields. Those who move along by leaps. There are Bodhisattvas who, having accomplished the four trances, are, when the trances have faded away in the consequence of the first trance reborn among the gods of Brahma's group. Having again accomplished the trances, having been reborn among the highest gods, they know full enlightenment in the various Buddha fields, the half precipitant. The Bodhisattvas who desist from the Brahma world are reborn among the gods of the pure abode. Having jumped over one or two classes of the gods of the pure abode, they are reborn among the highest gods, and when know full enlightenment in the various Buddha fields. Those who on their way through the heavens of form have deceased in all stations. There are Bodhisattvas who have conjured up a body like that of a Tathagata, purified the Tushita realm, been reborn among the gods of Brahma's group, etc., up to the highest gods, and who through their skill and means demonstrate Dharma to beings in the hells, in the animal world, in the world of Yama. There are Bodhisattvas who have stood in the six perfections, conjured up a body such as that of a Tathagata, visited countless Buddha fields and world system in all the 10 directions, in each single direction, and there demonstrate Dharma to beings, honor the Tathagatas, perfect the Buddha fields, and hear the Dharma. Having created for those Buddha fields illusory magical creations, they perfect their best, the most distinguished, the utmost Buddha fields, and bound to one more birth. These Bodhisattvas reborn in those Buddha fields, know full enlightenment in the various Buddha fields. Those who have gone up to the highest sphere of phenomenal existence. There are Bodhisattvas who, in consequence of the transcendent formless attainments, are reborn among the gods of Brahma's group, etc., up to the Subhakristhana gods. Thereafter they are born in the station of endless space, etc., up to in the summit of existence. Then they are born in various Buddha fields. Those who have forsaken the greed for the world of form. There are Bodhisattvas, recipients of the trances of formless attainments, who are reborn in the station of endless space, etc., to the summit of existence. Then they are reborn in the various Buddha fields. Those who attain nirvana in this very life. There are Bodhisattvas who person in the six perfections, their bodies adorned with the 32 marks of the Superman, become endowed with the most excellent, perfectly pure organs, and who therefore become dear and pleasant to the many folk. And the beings who see those Bodhisattvas do through just that serene faith in their hearts gradually attain full nirvana. Through the three vehicles, it is thus that a bodhisattva should train himself in the perfect purity of body, speech, and mind. There are bodhisattvas who, coursing in this perfection, in the six perfections, acquire refined organs, but do not therefore exalt themselves or deprecate others. There are bodhisattvas who, from the first production of the thought of enlightenment onwards, have stood in the six perfections and are never reborn anywhere in the states of woe, even before they have reached their irreversible stage. There are Bodhisattvas who, from the first production of the thought of enlightenment onwards, never abandon the 10 ways of wholesome actions until they have reached their irreversible stage. There are Bodhisattvas who, after they have stood in the perfection of giving, have become universal monarchs, and having given gifts to beings, established them in the 10 ways of wholesome actions. There are Bodhisattvas who, having stood in the perfection of giving, etc., gain many hundreds of thousands of worldwide kingdoms. Having stood therein, they please hundreds of thousands of nutas of kotis of Buddhas, honor, respect, revere, and worship those Buddhas and lords, and thereafter win full enlightenment. Those who have witnessed cessation win their body. There are Bodhisattvas who, coursing in perfect wisdom, recipients of the four trances and the four formless attainments, interplaying with them into the first trance, immerse therefrom, and they enter into the attainment of the trance of cessation, and so with the second trance, etc., to the fourth formless attainment. It is thus that these Bodhisattvas, coursing in perfect wisdom, endowed with skill and means, having entered on the concentration which jumps at will from one station to any other, know full enlightenment in the various Buddha fields, the candidate to arhatship. There are Bodhisattvas who, having stood in the six perfections, illuminate beings with the Buddha Dharma. Neither are they themselves lacking in the splendor of the Buddha Dharma even before they know full enlightenment, the practical Buddha. There are bodhisattvas who, in Buddha-less world system, where there are no disciples fully know the practical Buddha enlightenment, having matured through skill and means many hundreds of thousands of millions of quantities of living beings in the three vehicles, they know full enlightenment. The fruits which can be obtained on the path of the disciple and practical Buddha. There are bodhisattvas who are recipients of the applications of mindfulness, the right efforts, the basis of his psychic power, the dominants, the powers, the limbs of enlightenment and the path, recipients of the 10 powers, the grounds of self-confidence, the analytical knowledges, and the 18 special Buddha dharmas, but they do not attain the fruit of the stream winner, etc., to the fruit of an arhat or practical Buddhahood. Coursing in perfect wisdom, they show through their skill and means the eightfold path to all beings, and thereby make them attain the fruit of stream winner, etc., to practical Buddha enlightenment. They themselves do not realize this, but they establish others in them. The establishment of others in the Dharma one does not oneself obtain. The Bodhisattva, the great being, passionately accepts the cognition which leads to attainment of the fruit of all the disciples and practical Buddhas. Elucidation of the community of irreversible bodhisattvas. Those bodhisattvas who dwell in this perfection of wisdom should be known as irreversible. There are bodhisattvas who, having stood in these six perfections, purify the Tushita realm. These bodhisattvas should surely be known as living in their auspicious aegon. Those Shariputra are reversible bodhisattvas who thus rise up to the Buddha dharmas, according to their practices, perfect purity. Therefore, then, Shariputra, bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should give no occasion for faulty deeds of body, speech, and mind. And he should train in view of the perfect purity of the deeds of body, speech, and mind. Instructions about non-attachment. Shariputra. What is a faulty deed of body, speech, and mind? The Lord. Here it occurs to a bodhisattva to ask, what is the body by which deeds of the body could be undertaken? What the voice by which deeds of speech could be undertaken? What the mind by which deeds of mind could be undertaken? Thus investigating, he gets at body, speech, and mind. For bodhisattva, such an undertaking of deeds of body, speech, and mind is faulty. Furthermore, bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't get at such a kind of body, speech, and mind by which he would produce a thought of meanness, immorality, ill will, sloth, distraction, or stupidity. It is impossible, it cannot be that a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom could produce wickedness of body, speech, or mind. That is quite impossible. And why? Because the bodhisattva who courses in the six perfections cleanses away the wickedness of body, speech, and mind. Shariputra. How then does he cleanse away that wickedness? The Lord. When he does not get at body, speech, or mind, if moreover bodhisattva, on account of the first thought of enlightenment, complies with the 10 ways of wholesome actions, produces no disciple thought or practical Buddha thought, but constantly and always sets up a thought of great compassion for all beings, it is then that I say that a bodhisattva's wickedness of body, speech, and mind is perfectly purified. There are bodhisattvas, great beings, who course in perfect wisdom and purifying the path to enlightenment, course in the perfection of giving, etc., to the perfection of wisdom. Shariputra. What is the bodhisattva path to enlightenment? The Lord. When a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't get a body, speech, or mind at any of the six perfections and the idea of disciple, practical Buddha, bodhisattva, or Buddha, then that is a bodhisattva's path to enlightenment. The non-apprehension of all dharmas, the bodhisattva who walks by that path and courses in the six perfections cannot possibly be crushed. Instructions about persistent indefatigability. All knowledge. Shariputra. Coursing how to do bodhisattvas become uncrushable. The Lord. When a bodhisattva who courses in the six perfection doesn't put his mind to form, etc., to the utmost right and perfect enlightenment, it is then that he grows in the six perfections and that he cannot be crushed by anything. They are Bodhisattvas, great beings who, having stood in perfect wisdom, fulfill all knowledge. All doors to the places of war are closed to those who are endowed with that knowledge. They do not among men experience the misfortunes of poverty, and they do not take hold of such personality by which they would become blameworthy in the world with its gods. Instructions about the full acceptance of a Mahayanistic path, cognition of the all-knowing. Shariputra. What is on the part of Bodhisattva the cognition of all-knowing? Lord, endowed with that cognition, a Bodhisattva sees in each of the 10 directions Tathagatas as many as the sense of the river Ganges. Here is their demonstration of Dharma, honors their community, and sees the purity of their Buddha fields. But Bodhisattvas who are endowed with that cognition have no notion of a Buddha or of enlightenment or of disciples or particular Buddhas or of self or other or of a Buddha field. A Bodhisattva who is endowed with that cognition courses in each one of the 6 perfections, but he doesn't get at any of them. He develops the applications of mindfulness, etc. to the Buddha Dharmas, but he doesn't get at any of them. Endowed with this cognition, a Bodhisattva fulfills all Buddha Dharmas, but he doesn't put his mind to any of them. Instructions about the 5 organs of vision, the 5 eyes. There are Bodhisattvas who acquire the cleanse the 5 eyes. Which 5? The fleshy eye, the heavenly eye, the wisdom eye, the dharma eye, and the Buddha eye. Shariputra. What is the Bodhisattva's perfectly pure fleshy eye? The Lord. There is the fleshy eye of a Bodhisattva which sees the 100 miles for 200 miles across Jambudvipa, a 4-continent world system, a world system consisting of 1,000 worlds, a world system consisting of 1 million worlds, a world system consisting of 1 billion worlds. This is Bodhisattva's perfectly pure fleshy eye. Shariputra. What is a Bodhisattva's perfectly pure heavenly eye? The Lord. The Bodhisattva wisely knows the heavenly eye of the gods, beginning with the 4 great kings, but the gods do not wisely know a Bodhisattva's heavenly eye. With his perfectly pure heavenly eye, he wisely knows, as it really is, the disease and birth of all beings in the world system, numerous in the sense of river Ganges. In each of the 10 directions, this is a Bodhisattva's perfectly pure heavenly eye. Shariputra. What is a Bodhisattva's perfectly pure wisdom mind? The Lord. A Bodhisattva who is endowed with that wisdom mind doesn't wisely know any Dharma. He is conditioned or unconditioned, wholesome or unwholesome, faulty or faultless, with or without outflows, defiled or undefiled, worthy or supramundane. With that wisdom mind, he doesn't see any Dharma or hear, know, or discern one. This is the perfectly pure wisdom mind of a Bodhisattva. Shariputra. What is a Bodhisattva's perfectly pure Dharma eye? The Lord. Here a Bodhisattva knows by means of the Dharma eye that this person is faith follower, that person a Dharma follower, this person is a dweller in emptiness, that person a dweller in singleness, that person is dweller in the wishless. The 5 cardinal virtues will arise in the person by means of the emptiness doors to deliverance. In that person by means of the signless doors to deliverance. In that person by means of the wishless door to deliverance. By means of the 5 cardinal virtues, this one gazes upon the unimpeded concentration. By means of this unimpeded concentration, he will produce the vision or cognition of emancipation. By means of this vision and cognition of emancipation, he will forsake 3 fetters. The view of individuality, the congregation of mere rule and ritual and doubt. Then he is the person who is called a stream winner. After he has acquired the path of development, he attenuates censures, greed, and ill will. He is then the person who is called a once returner. Thought making just this path of development preponderant and developing it, he will come to the forsaking of censures, greed, and of ill will. He is then the person who is called a never returner. Through making just this path of development ponderant and developing it, he will forsake greed for the world of form, greed for the formless world, ignorance, conceit, and excitedness. He is then the person who is called an arhat. This is the perfectly pure Dharma eye of a Bodhisattva, the great being. Moreover, the Bodhisattva knows wisely that whatever is doomed to originate, all that is also doomed to stop. Coursing in perfect wisdom, he attains the 5 cardinal virtues. This is the perfectly pure Dharma eye of a Bodhisattva. Moreover, Bodhisattva knows that the Bodhisattva who has had his first thought of enlightenment, who glories in the perfection of giving or in the perfection of morality, thereby acquires the virtues of faith and vigor. That, endowed with skill in means, he acquires a personality at will, and becomes firmly based on the wholesome rules. This Bodhisattva will be reborn among Brahmins, that one among nobles, that one among wealthy householders, and that one among the gods. He knows that having abided among them, he will mature beings, present them with everything that makes for happiness and purity the Buddha feel, and that he will please the Tathagatas, honor, respect, and revere them, and will not fall on the level of a disciple or the level of a Pratika Buddha. He knows that this Bodhisattva will not turn back until he has known full enlightenment. This is the Bodhisattva's perfectly pure Dharma eye. Moreover, Bodhisattva knows that these Bodhisattvas have been predicted to full enlightenment, and those have not. These Bodhisattvas are irreversible, and those are not. These Bodhisattvas are in full possession of their superknowledges, and those are not. This Bodhisattva is in full possession of his superknowledges, goes in each of the 10 directions towards system numberless as the sands of the Gangas, and there he honors, respects, reveres, and worships the Tathagatas. That Bodhisattva, not in full possession of the superknowledges, doesn't go to numberless Buddha fields and does not there honor, respect, revere, and worship the Tathagatas. This Bodhisattva will become a recipient of the superknowledges that one will not. This Bodhisattva will have a perfectly pure Buddha field that one will not. This Bodhisattva has matured beyond that one has not. The Bodhisattva and Lords praise this Bodhisattva that one they, the Buddhas and Lords praise this Bodhisattva that one they do not praise. These Bodhisattvas will stand near the Buddhas, the Lords, those will not. This Bodhisattva will have a limited lifespan that one and unlimited one. This Bodhisattva will have a limited congregation that one and unlimited one. This Bodhisattva, after he has known full enlightenment, will have a congregation of Bodhisattvas that one will not. This Bodhisattva will practice austerities that one will not. The Bodhisattva is in his last rebirth that one is not. This Bodhisattva will sit on the terrace of enlightenment that one will not. This Bodhisattva will have a mark that one will not. This is the perfectly pure Dharma of a Bodhisattva. Shariputra. What is a Bodhisattva's perfectly pure Buddha? The Bodhisattva, when immediately after the thought of enlightenment he has, with a wisdom conjoined with one single thought moment, entered on the adamantine concentration, reaches the knowledge of all modes. He is endowed with the 10 powers of a Tathagata, the 4 grounds of self-confidence, the 4 analytical knowledges, the 18 special Buddha dharmas, the great friendliness, the great compassion, the great sympathetic joy, the great even-mindedness, and the unhindered deliverance of a Buddha. And that eye of a Bodhisattva does not meet with anything that is not seen, heard, known, or discerned in all its modes. That is the Bodhisattva's perfect Buddha eye. It is thus that the Bodhisattva who wants to cleanse the 5 eyes should make endeavors about the 6 perfections. And why? Because in the 6 perfections all wholesome dharmas are contained. All disciple dharmas, all practical Buddha dharmas, and all Bodhisattva dharmas, when those who speak the truth have spoken all that which comprehends all wholesome dharmas. They have spoken of the perfection of wisdom. Perfect wisdom is the genetrix of all the perfections, and also of those 5 eyes of a bodhisattva. Having trained themselves in those 5 eyes of a bodhisattva, the bodhisattvas known full enlightenment. The 6 super knowledges. Instructions about the 6 super knowledges. The bodhisattva, the great being who courses in this perfection of wisdom, develops the perfection of super knowledge. He experiences psychic power in its various aspects. He shakes this very earth. Having been one, he becomes manifold. Having been manifold, he becomes one. He can make himself visible or invisible, right through a wall, a rampart, or a hill. He glides unhindered as though through empty space. Cross-legged, he floats along like a bird on the wing. He plunges into the earth and shoots up again, as if in water. He walks on water without sinking on as if on solid ground. With his body he emits smoke and flames of fire like a great mass of fire, and at the same time releases streams of cold water like a great rain cloud. Even the sun and the moon, powerful and mighty though they be, he touches and strokes with his hands. Even as far as the Brahma world, he has power over his body, but he doesn't fancy himself for that psychic power, for he does not get at that psychic power, which would allow him to mind, on account of emptiness, the isolatedness, the incomprehensibility of its own being. He doesn't apart from his attention to the state of all knowledge, produce the will for psychic power, no will for calling for psychic power. It is thus that a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom calls forth the cognition of the realization of the super knowledge of psychic power. With the heavenly ear element perfectly pure and surpassing that of man, he hears sounds celestial as well as human. But he does not by mean of that heavenly ear fancy that he hears sounds, for he doesn't get at that sound, because its own being is empty, as a lead cannot be apprehended. Outside his attention to the knowledge of all modes, he doesn't produce a will for the heavenly ear. It is thus that the bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom calls for the cognition of the realization of the super knowledge of the heavenly ear. With his heart, he wisely knows, as it really is, the thought of other beings and persons. He wisely knows as it really is, a greedy thought as a greedy thought, a greedless thought as a greedless thought, a thought with hate as a thought with hate, a thought without hate as a thought without hate, deluded thought as deluded thought, undeluded thought as undeluded thought with craving as thought with craving, thought without craving as thought without craving, thought with grasping as thought with grasping, thought without grasping as thought without grasping, composed thought as composed thought, disturbed thought as disturbed thought, limited thought as limited thought, extensive thought as extensive thought, lofty thought as lofty thought, concentrated thought as concentrated thought, unconcentrated thought as unconcentrated thought, detached thought as detached thought, undetached thought as undetached thought, thought with outflows as thought with outflows, thought without outflows as thought without outflows, thought with blemish as thought with blemish, thought without blemish as thought without blemish, thought with something above is as it is thought with something above it, thought with nothing above it as thought with nothing above it. But he doesn't because of that fancy himself, because that thought is no thought on account of its unthinkability. He doesn't imagine that he knows wisely, and that very thought he doesn't get at on account of the emptiness, isolatedness, and inapprehensibility of its own being. He doesn't, apart from his attention to the knowledge of all modes, produce a will for the cognition of others' thoughts. It is thus that the Bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom calls for the cognition of the realization of superknowledge, of the thoughts of action and actions of all beings. With the cognition of the recollection of these past lives, he remembers 1 birth, 2 births, 3 births, up to 100,000 births. He also remembers 1 thought, etc., up to 100 thoughts, 1 day up to 100 days, 1 month up to 100 months, 1 year up to 100 years, 1 year up to 100 years, many hundred of years, many hundred of thousands of years, many hundreds of thousands of newtons of goddess of eons, up to the limit of the beginning he remembers. There I was, that was my name, that was my family, that was my caste. Such was my food, such was my length of my life, such was my extent of my lifespan. This is from there I was reborn here, this is from here I was reborn there. It is thus that he recollects his various previous lives with all their modes, details, and occasions, but he doesn't fancy himself for the superknowledge of the recollection of his former lives, because that cognition is a non-cognition. On account of its unthinkability, he doesn't imagine that he knows wisely, and that very thought he doesn't get it. On account of the emptiness, isolateness, and incomprehensibility of its own being, he doesn't outside his attention to the knowledge of all modes produce a will for the knowledge of his past lives. It is thus that he, Bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, calls for the cognition of the realization of the superknowledge of the recollection of his former lives. With the heavenly eye, pure and surpassing that of man, he sees beings as they die and rise again. He wisely knows that those beings, whether beautiful or ugly, low or exalted, undergo a happy or wretched destiny according to karma. Here are the beings who are endowed with good conduct of body, speech, and mind, who have not revived the holy man, who have right views, and who, with this good conduct of body, speech, and mind, of course, are reborn in a happy place in heaven among the gods. There, on the other hand, are the beings who are endowed with bad conduct of body, speech, and mind, who have revived the holy man, who have wrong views, and who, because they have acquired the karma of evil views, are reborn upon the breaking up of the body after death, in the states of war, in a wretched destiny, in great distress in the hells. It is that he wisely knows, with the heavenly eye, pure and surpassing that of man, as it really is, that disease and birth of beings in the 6 phases of the rebirth, in the universe, in all the 10 directions, in all the world system, with the Dharma element as the highest development, and the space element as the terminus. But he doesn't fancy himself for that, for this eye is no eye on account of its unthinkability. He doesn't fancy himself for the fact that he sees. That very eye he doesn't get it, on account of the emptiness, isolateness, and the incomprehensibility of his own being. He doesn't depart from his attention to the knowledge of all modes produce a will for the heavenly eye. It is that the Bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom calls for the superknowledge of the heavenly eye. He calls for the supercognition, for the realization of non-production. But he doesn't fall on the level of disciple or practical Buddha. Nor does he see any Dharma which knows full enlightenment. He doesn't put his mind to the wholesomeness of the achievement of the cognition, of the superknowledge, of the realization, of the extinction of the outlaws. For that cognition is the non-cognition, on account of its unthinkability. He doesn't put his mind to the fact that he knows wisely. It is thus that Bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom calls for the cognition of the realization, of the superknowledge, of the extinction of the outflows. It is thus again that the 6 superknowledges of the Bodhisattva courses in perfect wisdom are fulfilled and purified. The superknowledges, when perfectly pure, procure the knowledge of all modes, emptiness, no mind in sameness. There are Bodhisattvas, great beings, who, coursing in perfect wisdom, are having stood in the perfection of given glimpse their roadway to the knowledge of all modes, because by means of absolute emptiness they have grasped at nothing at all. There are others who having stood in the perfection of morality cleanse it on account of committing no offense. Others having stood in the perfection of passions cleanse it on account of their imperturbability. Others having stood in the perfection of vigor cleanse it on account of the indefatigability of their bodily and mental vigor. Others having stood in the perfection of concentration cleanse it on account of the undistracted state of their thought. Others having stood in the perfection of wisdom cleanse it on account of their having expelled all stupid thoughts. It is thus that Bodhisattvas who course in perfect wisdom having stood in the six perfections cleanse the roadway to the knowledge of all modes on account of absolute emptiness. A gift is conceived on account of taking, morality on account of immorality, passions on account of impassions, vigor on account of flaws, concentration on account of lack of concentration, wisdom on account of stupidity. The Bodhisattva doesn't put his mind to such ideas as I have crossed over, or I have not crossed over, giver or no giver, one of good conduct, one of bad conduct, one who has achieved patience, one who is angry, one who exerts vigor, one who is slothful, one who is concentrated, and one who is not concentrated, one who is wise, one who is stupid. I am abused, I am praised, I am treated with respect, I am not treated with respect. And why? Because non-production doesn't put its mind to such ideas. And why? Because the perfection of wisdom cuts off all mindings. All the virtuous qualities which come to a bodhisattva courses in perfect wisdom are not found in the disciples and practical Buddhas. Perfecting these virtuous qualities, he matures beings, purifies the Buddha fields, and reaches the knowledge of all modes. A bodhisattva Shariputra who courses in perfect wisdom produces an even state of mind towards all beings. As a result, he acquires insight into the sameness of all dharmas and learns to establish all beings in this insight. In this very life, he becomes dear and pleasant to the Buddhas, the Lords, and to all Bodhisattvas, disciples, and practical Buddhas. Wherever he may be reborn, he will never again see unpleasant forms with his eyes, nor hear unpleasant sounds with his ears, nor smell unpleasant smells with his nose, nor taste unpleasant tastes with his tongue, nor feel unpleasant sensations with his body, nor become aware of unpleasant dharmas with his mind, nor does he fail of full enlightenment. Interlude. When this exposition of perfect wisdom was being expounded, 300 nuns wearing their religious garments in a proper and correct manner made offerings to the Lord and praised their thoughts to the utmost right and perfect enlightenment. Thereupon the Lord smiled on that occasion. The Venerable Ananda rose from his seat and put his upper robe over one shoulder, placed his right knee on the earth, stretched forth his folded hands towards the Lord, and said to the Lord, "What is the cause, what is the reason for the manifestation of this smile? It is not without cause, not without reasons that the Buddhas, the Lords, manifest a smile." The Lord. These 300 nuns will Ananda appear in the world in the 61st year from now as Tathagatas by the name of Mahaketu. Having deceased there in the star-like aeon, they will be reborn in the Buddha form of Akshobhya, the Tathagata, the 60,000 gods, mature through this demonstration of Dharma, will win final nirvana in the presence of Maitreya, the Tathagata. Thereupon, though the mind of the Lord, the four assemblies of the Lord Shakyamuni, saw in each one of the 10 directions 1,000 Buddhas, all visible from the circle of the assembly, and they also saw the splendid glory of their Buddha fields. In this Saha world system, they cannot see a glory as splendid as that of the Buddha fields of those Buddhas and Lords in the 10 directions. 10,000 living creatures from the circle of the assembly of the Lord Shakyamuni thereupon made the vow, "We shall bring about enough merit to be reborn in those Buddha fields." Thereupon the Lord, seeing the resolution of those sons of good family, smiled on that occasion. Anand. What is the cause, what the reason for the manifestation of a smile, Lord? Do you see, Ananda, those 10,000 living creatures? Ananda, I do, Lord, the Lord. These 10,000 living creatures, this is here, will be reborn in the 10 directions in 1,000 Buddha fields, and nowhere will they be deprived of the Tathagatas. Afterwards, they will appear in the world as Tathagatas, Vyuharaja by name. This is the end of the third chapter of the large sutra on perfect wisdom, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sūtram.